I was with my three best friends in my apartment and we were just watching TV. An incredibly mundane and usual occurrence. I was laying on the floor, on my phone, and without a warning, I felt a sudden urge to go and eat candy. Something I hadn't craved for in a while, which meant that I wouldn't have any at home. When I turned to them and told them about it, they told me they were just discussing going down for food, which we hadn't planned on doing until later that night. So, with their approval, we hurried downstairs for our impromptu grocery shopping trip. It was barely half an hour later when we were in the middle of the street about to enter my apartment building again when the earthquake of April 22, 2019 struck. It was 6.1 magnitude and felt like ages long. To this day, I wonder what might have happened if we stayed inside the building rather than going out for groceries. The moment it struck, we were in a perfectly safe spot, like magic. It kept me up that night. No, I don't believe that everything is predetermined. I don't believe that destiny is set and that we can't move outside of it because God gave us free will when He made us. But this was something else. There was a guidance to that urge. And at 3 a.m., I finally snapped. The question that I posed to Google was this: are we really free to choose our choices? It didn't answer me instantly. I had to do some digging. But soon the word made itself known: compatibility. It's a school of thought that we are all free to make our own choices, but the urges behind those choices, the wants, the desires, are all predetermined. It's the perfect balance between freedom and destiny. You're not completely slave to fate, but there is the guiding hand of it helping you along in your life. As the people began to climb down the fire escape that day and join us in the emergency evacuation area, I looked up at the building in front of me and saw the way it shivered and bent to the sway of the earth. And I realized just how the entire world relies on the forms of society to stand upright. The concrete and metal that built that building had come from the industrial aspect of society. The food in the grocery bag in my hand came from the agricultural part of society. And now, as I write the script to this speech, I am in the virtual aspect of society. I felt completely disassociated for a moment. Something clicked. Society was suddenly so much larger than it already was. To be a part of society is to take from these things, to shelter yourself in the buildings that the industry has made, and eat the food that the agricultural part of society has made. Back then, no one knew about COVID-19 or that anything like this would ever happen. But today, everyone lives in the virtual world. Every day, the first thing you do when you wake up is check your phone to see the online newspaper, to see what happened in the world overnight while you slept. Then you go on social media and check up on your friends and their lives, see how they're doing. You communicate and talk to people through the virtual world now. It's a legitimate part of society, and now society extends past everything and everyone and encompasses all of this. You unknowingly contribute to society all the time. The rent you have, the grocery bills you pay, the online transaction you pay them through, everyone is a part of society. Humans are built to be a part of society. Humans need society to be human. If you dissect the philosophy of Martin Buber, you'll find that it exactly discusses this concept. He states that if humans consistently live in the belief of I-it, wherein real concrete relationships cannot be formed because of an imbalance or inequality, either real or perceived by one of the individuals, you can no longer be a real human, because you have no true relation tethering you to humanity. He states that true relationships can only be formed through I-thou belief, wherein both parties recognize, understand, and see one another and one another's flaws in equal and kind light. In that, true relationship is made, and a tether to society. At 18, I'm supposed to begin contributing to society in true whole values. This I consider to be the greatest responsibility. In truth, I believe in Moism. Humans weren't made to be alone. Countless experiments on isolation show that. The history of the human race, even back when we weren't quite so evolved as we are now, shows society, gatherings of humans. Humans aren't like other animals, who, after being born, depart from their parents. Humans stay and survive together. It continues to be like this to this day. Society is ingrained in humanity, and the purpose of society is to survive and to better life, which is to say, we must help one another survive, help one another thrive. What life would you have lived having never contributed to something greater than yourself? And what of the afterlife? When you die and you ascend to be judged by someone greater than yourself, when that being finds that you've helped no one but yourself at all, when you've been put here by a being who gave you a conscience, who influences your choices but is kind enough to allow you to make them, when it urges you to do the right things, to be a part of the right things, to be good, what will you tell it when you face it in your final rest and you have done nothing at all but be?